All right, hello guys, welcome back. Today is February 26th, Thursday, 7 p.m. Tomorrow's Friday, last day of the week, PPI. So just a quick recap of what happened today, what I'm expecting for tomorrow, and I gotta be a little bit transparent with everyone here. Um, when creating this, the point of this was to be very transparent, to document everything, be honest with myself, be honest with everyone. And so the truth is, today I I took a win, I profited, but I wasn't happy with that win, and I wasn't, I'm very grateful for making money, but the means of which I made this money, it was a little uh not the best like mindset. Um, let's just get right into it. I'll show you the trade I took, and then we can get into a outlook or a whole recap. But essentially, this was the trade I took after New Day opening gap, which would be more apparent on the 15 minute. Traded into with a 15-minute sweep of high SMT. I decided to short. I think MNQ might have my position. Um, it does not, but yeah, essentially I decided to short a little bit before 9:30, and then 9:30 took me to my target objective. Just a quick move down to this. I moved down to like I think it was right around here. I'm sorry. Next time I'll make sure I keep my position. I sometimes delete it as force of habit, but I'll be better at keeping it. But yeah, I mean, I took this trade, and you're looking at it like, okay, that sounds really good. You did good. You took a trade. But what happened before that is the problem, right? So I had woken up at 5 a.m., which would be right here, and I I wanted to short, and so I did. I entered. And again, you're like, okay, what could have went wrong? It doesn't look too bad. Well, um, when did I short? I shorted. I shorted right around here, and then yeah, it ran down, and then I just moved my stops to break even. Checked back at it 7, went back to break even. I was kind of annoyed to say the least. How I round tripped money, profit, and then went into break even. And so I decided to take a long after sweeping this low. I was like, okay, now we look bullish. And looking back at it, there was no real reason for me to, first of all, be shorting at 5 a.m. I need to make that a rule, not to short or not to enter any positions until my kill zone. 7 a.m., 8:30, 9:30, 7 and 8:30 might be a little questionable, but 5 definitely not. So that's something I have to make clear. But then also, there was no reason for me to be taking this long when I personally was short. And it's not even part of my model. Like, I guess we have, I'm trying to make this work, but I don't think we have any level. Like, we have this 1 hour inverted, I guess, with a 15-minute sweep and an SMT. But first of all, that's not how I was looking at it. Second of all, that's not even what my bias was, but I rushed my bias just because I don't know why I've just been so. No, I do know why actually. I've been doing very, very good this month. I don't want to flex. I don't want to jinx anything. I'm just gonna say it how it is. I've been doing very good this month, and I think I've been getting, cocky. I'm expecting a certain amount of profit every day, and that's just not realistic. And so when it doesn't go my way, I decided to try again. And, obviously don't give up if something good. Trying again is something good, but when it comes to trading these markets, when it comes to trading in general, sometimes you just have to let it go and come back the next day. Sometimes you just have to wait until your actual model. You can't really just try again. But yeah, this was the long, and I mean, you're already seeing it. I that was also a win. Um, and yeah. See, I was like, my take profit was right here, and it wicked all the way to here, and so I just moved my stop down to this low, and I got stopped out. And I want a certain, or I like to try to aim for a certain profit every day, and then I'll be done. And I think it was $30 away from that profit target. And so I wanted to really get that $30. So what did I do? I decided to see another weird trade that I really should not have taken, that I really isn't part of my model. But yeah, essentially I tried to take this long right here, and then I got stopped out. And then I reflected a little, is what I'd like to say. But looking back at it, that could also even have been impulsive. Again, my rule, it should only be 2 trades per day max. If I take one win, I should probably not be taking another trade. So even if my bias was bearish and this was my original opportunity, I ideally shouldn't have taken this, just because I broke my rules and I used up all my trades by all that by 8:45. So I ended up taking the short, and it did work out. And I mean, you could see even it ran, I thought, like 500 points all the way back into the range, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I just wanted to be very transparent about this. I guess the lesson learned here is I need to stick to my model and my model only. I'm not trading before let's say 7 a.m. and I need to be patient. I can't force things into the market. I can't force to see things. They actually have to happen so I can actually see them. I can't I can't force this and make this seem like it's my model when it's not really my model. This is my model because I was bearish. But yeah, hopefully maybe you could learn something from this. Maybe you could help if you can relate. If you have any tips on how to get better at this, I'm trying to be better, and I think addressing it will definitely be helpful. Again, this is my journal, so um, yeah, hopefully tomorrow going on, I'm doing a lot better with that. And even if that 5 a.m. trade runs and goes to my take profit, say, I should be okay with that. I should just let it happen. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry for the tangent. Now getting back into what happened today. Now we mentioned that we didn't really want to trade high probability trades until we see either this high consolidation taken out or low consolidation taken out. And we actually got this high consolidation taken out um, yesterday. And then from there, I mentioned that I wouldn't be surprised if we went back into the range, as you can see delineated by my arrows. And that's exactly what we did. I mean, we used new week opening gap. I'm sorry, new day opening gap right here to find resistance and move lower. On the 1 hour, you have this high right here, swept, and then even you have this 1 hour bearish FVG, respecting bodies. You can see wicks, but only bodies matter, and especially because we had that new day opening gap. 15-minute ran above, took out the stops, moved back into the range. Wicks showing willingness to want to move lower. Early entry could be right here, but I waited for more confirmation. I think because I was just battling that $30 that $30 win I was trying to achieve that I mentioned. But yeah, it was definitely a great trade, and now we're back into the range as expected. I definitely I wouldn't be surprised if we consolidate in this again, or yeah, I mean I essentially am gonna wait again for either another sweep of the high or sweep of the low, and then see what we want to do from there. But I wouldn't be surprised if PPI does that, if PPI helps us continue lower, move lower, because I do like this low more than that high now after sweeping the high, moving lower back into the range. Maybe now we can continue moving lower down into this low. That for Friday, I don't know how much we'll move, but maybe an idea going into next week. But yeah, I think I'll be actively looking for shorts tomorrow. Looking at the dollar, um, the dollar it's very similar to NQ. It's in this range right here, kind of consolidated. If we pull up like a 4 hour, you can see the consolidation. And you could do the same thing we're doing with NQ. We could wait for a sweep of high or a sweep of low and see what we want to do. But aligning with bearish NQ, dollar does look pretty bullish from here. After again we're inside of this inverted, we found rejection off of this wick. We move lower, and now we're finding some type of bullishness moving higher. So yeah, I think this is going to be very easily engineered liquidity, and I think we're going to run for it. Looking at ZB, you know, ZB is again doing the opposite of NQ, that decoupled market. It does look pretty bullish after moving back into this bullish FEG rejection block and then moved higher. But then also, you know, we have these four wicks right here. Maybe we're building this narrative of resistance, and then we take out the high, maybe move back into the range, or we just continue higher for the highs. That's what I'm watching for. I do advise be very, very safe tomorrow, especially with the PPI coming out. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Hopefully you found this insightful. Take care, be safe.